The Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion is on the verge of becoming the most controversial energy project in Canadian history. The existing Trans Mountain Pipeline has been operational since 1953. It runs from Edmonton to the terminals and refineries along the west coast.
The Trans Mountain Pipeline can carry a variety of petroleum products in adjacent batches. Mixing is prevented by transporting the products in a specific order that make up a batch train. Most of the petroleum being pumped from the oil sands in Alberta is an extra heavy crude oil called bitumen. Bitumen is a highly viscous, energy-dense oil that must be diluted or heated to flow in a pipeline. Diluted bitumen poses an environmental threat, as it can sink in water if it is not quickly recovered.
The project is estimated to cost around $6.8 billion, and Kinder Morgan promises to create both short-term and long-term jobs for Alberta and BC residents. In 2013, Kinder Morgan filed for application with the National Energy Board to build a second pipeline under the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. The new pipeline would essentially follow the same route as the existing one. The pipeline is being expanded so that it can triple its carrying capacity from 300,000 to almost 900,000 barrels a day. In 2016, the NEB recommended the federal government approve the project. Later that year, Trudeau's federal cabinet went forward with the approval. The approval was met with many harsh protests from both First Nations communities and environmentalists.
We are here because we are so deeply concerned about our future generations. We are so deeply concerned about the land and the waters. But rest assured, there will never, ever be a Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline project.
This is what we do when they try to put a pipeline through a mountain. This is what we do when they try to bring toxic tar sands into our communities when we have alternatives.
Police moved in today even though the company hoped the protesters would leave on their own. Police emphasize they aren't trying to simply get everyone off the mountain.
Subsequently, on August 30th, 2018,
the Federal Court of Appeal has dealt a blow to the federal government, siding with Indigenous and environmental groups who oppose the $7.4 billion expansion project. But despite the outcome, Finance Minister Bill Morneau says the investment makes economic sense for Canadians.
The court's decision garnered strong reactions from both sides of the debate.
On the shores of Vancouver Harbour today, it was all smiles as members from several First Nations gathered to celebrate a big victory and a major roadblock for Trans Mountain.
It's a great day today. We won.
The First Nations were part of a larger group that argued Canada's approval of the contentious project should be quashed. And in the end, the Federal Court of Appeal agreed because it found there was inadequate consultation, saying Canada failed to dialogue meaningfully and grapple with the real concerns of the Indigenous applicants.
For years, Trudeau has been standing by their consultation plan, and it failed. It failed completely, and the courts agreed with us.
We can stand behind our approval of the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion with confidence. This project will be safe, jobs will be created, and this pipeline will be built.
The Trans Mountain expansion project is in the Canadian public interest and should be approved.
On February 22, 2019, the National Energy Board recommended to approve the Trans Mountain Pipeline, giving the government 90 days to decide whether to build the pipeline. Though it was approved, they placed 156 conditions on its construction, most of which attempt to combat the environmental effect of the pipeline. The National Energy Board acknowledged that the pipeline would have adverse effects on West Coast marine life, especially the already endangered orca whales. The National Energy Board also discussed a likely increase in the greenhouse gas emission from the tanker ships that would arrive in BC in order to ship the oil overseas. Though environmental and Indigenous concerns remain, the pipeline was determined to be in the national interest as, according to the National Energy Board, it allowed Canada to reach new markets with oil and decrease dependency on the U.S., as well as creating more jobs and stimulating the economy.